Hi, we've just received matric results, grade 12 in South Africa, and there's a whole lot of hype about why it should be in the newspaper and why it shouldn't be. So here are my thoughts on publishing of all examination results. And I'm not referring to the high achievers here. I'm specifically concerned about the mental health of students in general and that of parents too. And I'm so happy that we have the POPI Act in place because at least there is some legality to protect private information. Now, in my opinion, your matric results should be classified as private information. So, why am I taking this stand? So, norms are set by society, and there are some schools where, they stick to these norms and they judge the students accordingly. Now, our curriculum demands that, and I understand that, and I'm not going against it, but of course, I do question the curriculum. And I did question it in my thesis as well. So it's not something that I'm keeping quiet about. It's not something that I'm hush hush about. I make it very clear that our curriculum does not do everything to develop children holistically. But that's another aspect. That's, my academic research and things like that. But, I personally believe that we should be mindful about bringing shame to others. Now, let me tell you, I've got nothing against parents, grandparents, relatives, friends who are posting about how greatly their family members done. Of course, it's an achievement. You're happy, you want to do that. But how do you think your neighbor's child feels? So what are you doing if you know a child who has not achieved according to criteria? What are you doing to prevent that child from developing a negative self image or even from suicide? These are the realities. Children have taken their lives because of school results and when those results became public. So, on the one hand, we like to speak about mental health. Oh, we start going on and on about, mindset and mental health, etc. And yet we have this curiosity to know whose child passed, whether it's by number, whether it's by name. That is immaterial. To me, that is simply none of your business. Did you pay for that child's school fees? Did you pay to support that child in any way? I mean, really, why do you want that child's skin to be peeled off mercilessly in public? So, what I must say is that I'm really so chuffed. There's a major publishing house in my previous hometown of Pietermaritzburg. As most of you know, I'm based in Gordons Bay, Western Cape for a few years now. And that media house, that print media house, did not publish the results. Now, I don't want to mention it because advertising is not permitted, but boy, oh boy, am I delighted. I could actually, I was on the verge of screaming with joy when I read that they were not publishing the results. However, there was a designated line to get your results. Now, I'm making these statements as a wellness professional, as a parent, as an ex educator, and as a human being. I think when something is exposed, always put yourself in that child's position or that person's position. Would you like to be that person who's having your business displayed to everybody? And I want to conclude with a thought and an experience. I matriculated in 1976 at one of the very good schools in Pietermaritzburg. Remember, I grew up in the apartheid regime. And there was a problem with one of my papers. Now, it's bad enough when I wrote the trial exam, one of my biology papers mysteriously disappeared. I did the S7, which was physical science, mathematics, biology, accounting, English, and Afrikaans. And when I went to approach my teacher, there were allegations made against me. Fortunately, the principal knew me better than that. And the other heads of department stood for me. And I kept this out of the classroom. There was only one other colleague of mine, classmate, who knew about it because she accompanied me to the principal's office. And that was sorted. And then when I wrote the final exam, again, there was an error with my marking. And I still remember I contacted my vice principal. What a gem of a man. He was also my English teacher. I phoned him and I said, I'm really worried. And my mom said to me, phone him. And I called him and he took my call. And he said to me, we'll look into it because this is not your mark, definitely. So there was no remark or anything. But there was one teacher who never taught me. I did not do his subject. But he saw it fit when I met him in the city to say to me, oh, you're the only one who didn't get a very high mark in blah, blah, blah. And I thought, you know what? You didn't even teach me. I didn't even do your subject. So I kept quiet, and within 2 weeks, the school principal called me and he said, we've got your correct results. It's not what was in the newspaper. So, yes, I was delighted. And of course, even then, it was only the one classmate who had gone with me to that specific teacher for my trial exams that knew. And by then, she had plans to go away to the UK and all that kind of thing. So here am I at the age of 65. I hold 2 master's degrees. I'm waiting for a response from university for my PhD. I'm qualified as an educator. I'm also qualified as a human resource professional and as a wellness counselor. I have a master's in educational psychology, which was done in the Arab Emirates. And I have a master's degree in leadership and management, which was done in South Africa. So my point is, I could have been destroyed. I didn't allow that to happen. And it was nobody's business but mine as far as my academics went. There are many people who were in my grade then, and I remember the comments that were made, but it's not that I was thick-skinned. I knew better. I had already dealt with it with the principal, and I knew that there was going to be an investigation, and the investigation proved it wasn't an argument. It was a mistake with the entry of exams, of results. That's all it was. So be very careful about judging somebody by what you see in the newspaper. And if you are not responsible for their future, you have no right to judge them. No right at all. I hope this gives you some insight, and I hope that my story, I know a lot of you would be very shocked that this happened to me, but it did. And I didn't let it get me down. I really didn't. And I hope that if you're facing anything like this now, that this video gives you some hope and gives you the courage to say, there are boundaries. My results, my child's results, are none of your business.